Okay, let's get started. Yeah, yeah. Alright, so maybe you guys have heard of this before, maybe you haven't, but how many of you guys know what the American dream is? Yes! What's the American dream? Anna? Alright, Luna, what is the American dream? You know? No idea? Does anyone think that they know? Yes, Dano. Sorry?
It's a belief that you can succeed in America as long as you try.
As long as you try hard. Alright, cool. So we're going to talk about that today. Okay, so I want to ask you guys, what is success? What does it mean to be successful? Yes, Tiffany.
To achieve that you want.
Achieve what you want, and what do you want in life, Tiffany?
I don't.
Huh?
I don't.
Do you want a house? Do you want a car? Do you want to choose what you do for work?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Ashley? What is your dream? What is your definition of success?
Have a lot of money and do what I want.
So financial freedom? Okay. What about you, Daisy? Sorry, one more time. Happy family. Okay. All right. What about you, Dorothy? What is your definition of success? Cars, houses, money, status. What is a good job in your opinion? So money is your definition of success. Is that correct? What about you, Christine? What is your definition of success?
Buying many food.
A lot of food?
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Sylvia? It's Sylvia, the other Sylvia. You're Selena.
Sorry.
Okay.
When you achieve it.
Achieve your goal. What is your goal? What is your goal in life? What is your definition of success? Is it when you have a lot of cars, houses, a lot of money? Is it like Mr. Krabs where you have a bathtub filled with coins and you bathe in the money? You know? What is your definition of success?
Acknowledgement, I guess?
Acknowledgement, status. Okay. Do you think the title of your job matters more than what you actually do? No? Okay. What do you think, Ryan? Does the title of your job matter more than what you actually do?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So if I'm working for Google, and I'm a janitor, I'm still working for Google.
Yeah.
So people will find me like this.
Okay. So you can say X Google, but you don't say janitor, right? Alright. What about you, Diane? What is your definition of success? Everybody's definition is different. What is yours? Sorry?
Being wealthy. Being wealthy.
One more time.
Being wealthy.
Wealthy.
Yeah.
Okay, so having a lot of money, or all of this? Money, status, cars, houses, land, as much food as you want to eat. Okay? What do you guys think it means to be wealthy? Does anybody know what wealth is? What is wealth? What does being rich mean? Does everybody know what it means to be rich? It's a lot of
Money.
money, but is it just money? What makes someone rich? What do you guys think? It's easy. what does it mean to be rich?
Like in terms of money,
Sure.
like I think being rich is like you have enough money like to feed your family and do whatever you want and then still have leftovers.
Okay. So what is the difference between rich and wealthy? Does anyone know the definition of wealthy? Okay. So, what would you guys say about the Samsung family?
Who?
Are they wealthy or are they rich?
Rich.
Rich.
Wealthy. Why? The family will continue to have money for generation after generation after generation after generation. A single person could just not go to school, not get a job, and they'll be wealthy their entire lives. That is called generational wealth. Okay? If you don't have generational wealth, you have to work. Does that make sense? So how do you get generational wealth? What do you guys think? How do you develop generational wealth where you don't need to work?
Well, if your ancestor was like really rich, and
Yep.
and your parents or your more ancestors also did the same business and grew it up,
Yep.
then maybe you can have success.
Okay. So, generally speaking, wealth comes from something that is called passive income. You guys know what passive income is? Maybe you guys have heard of this before. It's money that you make for work that you did not do. Does that make sense? If I plant a seed in a farm, right, and that plant grows, do I have to do something to that plant every day to make it grow? Or does it automatically do it? If I put money in stocks, does that money increase or does it stay the same every day? Right, so this is called passive income. Does that make sense? It's work that you do one time, but it continues to make you money throughout the rest of your life. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's called passive income. So, that's what we're going to talk about, is what the American dream is and why it's different from how everyone else thinks. Okay. All right, so the origins of the American dream comes from the founding documents in 1776. Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What does this tell us? Well, it established the ideas that individuals have natural rights, right? We have rights as the individual, and we can do things that we want to do, right? We can strive hard to do the things that people may say don't do, right? For example, in caste societies like India and in Korea at one particular point in time, there were nobles, right? Or wealthy families who had political power, right? And if you were not born in that family, what were you? Servants, right? A servant cannot go above the master, right? It just doesn't work because you weren't born lucky, right? And so the United States used to have this as well, right? With royalty being under the British crown. But the Americans rebelled against the British and founded their own country, Declaration of Independence, right? We are our own individuals. We do not bow down to power. We do what we want and we achieve with our own hard work and individualism. Okay? All right, next is early America, 1600s to 1800s. Okay, settlers sought religious freedom and a chance to own land, right? The settlers didn't just go to this new colony just because they felt like going somewhere, right? When they went, it was a perilous journey. A lot of people died on the ship, maybe from scurvy, disease, lack of food, water, etc., right? But they went there in the hope of what? Bettering their lives, correct? Okay. The frontier and the westward expansion symbolized unlimited opportunity, right? So the colonists moved throughout the entire continent and tried to settle many different places, right? And so if you were brave enough, courageous enough to go out and brave the wilds with wild animals, lack of food, weather, sickness, etc., you had unlimited opportunities in order to succeed in life. Because what do we define as success? Most people define it by a monetary value, right? Money, land, houses, etc. In today's modern world, it's a bit different, but this was the idea. This is where the American dream came from. Okay? This is also why people from Korea, China, Japan all went to the United States during something called the Gold Rush. Do you guys remember that? You guys study that in American history? Okay, in that part, if you were willing to put in the effort, the work, the hard work in order to dig up that gold, you can be rich too, right? That's the American dream, that's the concept, okay? All right, this idea, that's the success that came through hard work and self-reliance. You can do anything that you want to do as long as you put your mind to it and you put in the hard work, right? You can build your own house, get your own land, settle everything, right? Okay. Yes.
Sorry, previous
Slide. Which one? This one? This will be a recorded lecture that you guys can look online later. All good? Alright, the 19th century expansion. So, rags to riches. Have you guys ever heard of this before? Rags to riches.
No.
Never heard of this concept before.
become rich.
From poor. Right? This is like something where you win the lottery and all of a sudden tomorrow you were filthy rich. You were poor, you lived in a small one-bedroom apartment, and now you live in the penthouse in Wati Tower in Chamshi. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Rags to riches. It's a very common trope for this idea, American dream, right? There is some stories in history. I don't know if you guys will cover that in your American history class. There's a particular individual who worked in a telegram office. Do you guys know what a telegram is?
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you know what a telegram is. 2 people, great. Okay, it's this thing that you go. It's called a telegraph, and it uses Morse code to translate messages over a wire. Okay, and so the telegram office would get receiving signals, and then they would write down the letter to someone. Well, businessmen would write letters on like what stock to buy and stuff like that. And one of the operators was really smart and took the advice from one of the people that sent a message, and he bought up that shares and became really rich. But he was poor. He was a poor Italian immigrant, right? This is a rags to riches story, right? This actually happened. Does that make sense? So this concept, right? Okay, and then the Industrial Revolution brought new opportunities, but also inequality, right? So the opportunities was what, right? Industrial Revolution brought technology, right? Farming became much easier, right? With plows and stuff like that. You didn't need as many people in the fields in order to grow food, right? So more people moved to the factories. Now, who owns the factory? Anybody? Can you guys start a factory right now today? Sure you can.
You don't have money.
You don't need money. What can you make right now in this classroom that you could sell to someone in order to make a lot of money?
Bracelet.
Bracelet, sure, yeah. You can, right? Everyone in this room can make bracelets if you had the materials, correct? You guys have hands, you guys have brains. It's easy to make. Couldn't you sell it? Right? Yes? Now, is it profitable? That's the question, right? Because each one of you requires a salary. Now, can you make enough money selling the bracelets to make this particular operation economical? No. Do you know why? Because the Industrial Revolution has revolutionized the way that we produce things. It's no longer by hand. We use machines that can crank out 1,000 bracelets in 1 hour versus, 1,000 people cranking out 1 bracelet for every hour, right? You would have to pay more money to people than just paying for 1 machine operator. Does that make sense? So it doesn't mean that you guys can't do it. It just means that it's likely that you won't be able to pay for it. So what would you have to do in order to create that system with people? What would you need in order to make it profitable? You would have to pay your employees a really, really, really low wage, right? Or get slaves. Yes? You guys understand? Alright. Next, Great Depression and James Truslow Adams in 1931. Great Depression, do you guys know what this is? Who's taking economics right now? All of 10th grade should be raising their hands. What do you guys mean? Not everybody's taking AP Economics? Okay. Alright. The Great Depression was a particular incident in the United States that was built on this fundamental concept of the American dream. Okay? To make this story short, because you guys probably haven't gotten to this particular subject matter in your economics class, I will try to keep it very simple. Essentially, the consumers in the United States, they bought a lot of things with a credit card. Everybody bought things with a credit card. Okay? What's a credit card? Anyone? Do you guys have credit cards?
No.
Okay, credit cards you have to pay the money back, right? Which means if you don't pay it back, who doesn't get paid? Doesn't get paid. Good. Credit card company doesn't get paid, right? And then if the credit card company doesn't get paid, what happens to the credit card company? They go bankrupt, right? They go out of business because they don't have enough money. So, during this time, there was a massive amount of product being produced, right? Refrigerators, stoves, etc. Creature comfort goods, air conditioning, stuff like that, right? And you guys like these things, yes? So people would buy these and they're very expensive comparatively to the salary, right? And so people were buying these things on credit. Stores would sell them on credit, right? But stores also have expenses and bills and stuff, right? What would happen if people lost their jobs? What would happen if they lost their jobs?
They don't get paid.
They don't get paid, which means they don't pay the stores, right? The stores don't get money, they go out of business, people lose jobs, people lose money, people don't want to spend money, people spend less and less and less and less and save everything, right? And what happens when you're losing all your money? What happens then? Do you take your money out of the bank or do you leave it in the bank? Right? Because at this time, the bank, right, didn't use insurance for your money. So if the bank went out of business, then you lose all your money. And what does a bank do? It gives loans to who? Businesses. If businesses aren't getting paid, the bank doesn't get paid. If the bank doesn't get paid, it loses its money. If it loses its money, you lose all your money. So what does everybody do? If you're gonna lose your money tomorrow, would you go to the bank and take all your money out today? Yes? I'm assuming so, right? This is called a bank run. You guys will learn about this later. But a bank run is essentially where everybody tries to take all their money out at once. Problem is there's not enough money in a bank at one particular point in time for everybody to take out their money. So the bank goes out of business, right? When banks go out of business, it can't give money to lend to businesses, to start companies, to give jobs. So everybody's out of a job, there's no businesses starting, everybody's worried about the future. That's the Great Depression. In a nutshell. Do you guys understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in the Epic of America, Adams describes the American dream as a better, richer, and fuller life for everyone with opportunity for each according to the ability or achievement, right? Okay, it reinforced that dream wasn't only about wealth, but also about fairness and possibility. So, this idea, the Great Depression, right? This was a reality check, and this is what caused what? Subtle shift in the mentality. Realism. Good, because if you're starving and your children are starving and you have no money, there's no way that you're looking at life very beautifully, right? Because before then, it was all about spend money here, everybody money, right? I'm gonna buy a house, I'm gonna buy a car, I'm gonna buy everything. And what happens when you can't pay it? Reality comes crashing in, okay? All right, So here's another part, opportunity for all, okay? Anyone can pursue success regardless of class, race, or background, right? The American dream was not exclusive to particular citizens or such, right? If you as a Korean person went to the United States, you guys could find success too. This is the concept, right? It doesn't matter if you're American or not. Does that make sense? Today, this might be challenged, but at this particular point in time, this is the American dream, okay? All right, it's rooted in the idea of equality, of opportunity, not guaranteed outcomes. This is important. Everybody has the same opportunity, but it does not mean that you get the same outcome. If I have $5 and you have $5, how we spend our $5 is different, right? You might spend your $5 on snacks. I might spend my $5 on a piece of stock that goes up in value. Does that make sense? So we both have the same opportunity of $5, but what we do with that money is up to us, right? The outcomes are not guaranteed. Does that make sense? Just like everybody has 24 hours in a day, what you do with those 24 hours will pretty much dictate what your life will be like in the future. Does that make sense? So if you spend a lot of those hours sleeping, you spend a lot of those hours playing video games, and you don't spend a lot of those hours preparing for your future, then when your future comes, don't expect success to come to you, right? It's the same thing. Don't expect to get into a really, really, really good university if you don't study really, really, really hard. Everything that you put in, your effort, matters to the outcome of what your life will be like. Okay? You guys understand? Alright, so United States uses meritocracy, okay? Hard work, talent, determination is the path to achievement. That is the concept of the American dream. Meritocracy. Does anyone not know what meritocracy is? Great, let's talk about it. Meritocracy means that we don't decide things based on where you were born, what you look like, or your ethnicity, right? It's based on how good you are at something. Does that make sense? Yeah? Cool. All right, so self-made stories, immigrants, entrepreneurs, inventors reinforce this ideal, right? Now, I talk about entrepreneurship a lot. If you guys know me pretty well, I think you guys do at this point. I am a pretty big proponent of entrepreneurship and business. Why? Well, if you do business, you can move outside of whatever bracket you are in your life, right? Let's just do a quick calculation, right? All right, did you know that the average income for a South Korean national per month is about 3 million won per month, okay? What's 3 million times 12?
36.
36 million, right? Okay, that's a year, 36 million. Is that a lot? Is it? What do you guys think? Yes, no, maybe so. Decent, okay. What if I sold, I don't know, 20 items that are worth 1 million won? What's worth 1 million won? What do you guys think? You guys ever bought something for 1 million won? No?
Like really expensive economies.
Laptop? Yeah? Okay, if you sold 20 of those, how much have you made? You could sell these things in like maybe a month, right? So what would be 20 million times 12? What is it? 240 million, right? So, what do you guys want? 36 or 240? Seems like a pretty no-brainer at this point, right? You guys want the 240, right? Now, what is the difference between the two? This is earned passively. This is earned actively. You put in the effort for this. You don't put in the effort for this. So, in the United States, we value innovation, entrepreneurship, the American dream. Go out and get it, right? Go out and get that bag, get that money, right? This concept is really important to understand for American mentality, right? Because we believe that anything that we want to achieve can be done through hard work, determination, right? Through study, through everything that we do to put effort in, right? Now, I want to ask you guys a question. Does the South Korean people have the same mentality, or is it different? And if so, what is the difference? Anybody? Alright. What is the South Korean mentality? Is it go out and get it, go out and sell those products, go out and make that money? It is?
Go out, meaning go other country and sell.
No, just go out and sell products that you just make. Does that make sense? Do you guys have that mentality, or are you told every day in order to study, to get a good job, in order to work and make a good salary and live your life normally? What is more common? Second one, right? Now, do you think it's the better option? What's your guys' opinion? No, not financially. Like, if you look at the numbers, realistically, you'll never afford anything in your life. You'll never get that Lambo, that nice car, that nice house, right? Housing prices here in South Korea are really high. So the likelihood that you guys will own a house before you're 40 or 50 years old is very unlikely, right? So the only way to do that is to increase your income, correct? Because you can increase your time. Yes? Right. So, upward mobility is really important for the American dream, right? Each generation should do better than the last. You guys should do better than your parents, and your parents did better than your grandparents, right? Because you guys have been studying and educated, right? You're really smart and bright. You guys had good life, right? It's much better than what your parents were and what your grandparents were when they were your age, right? Or your great-great-grandparents. Very different lifestyle, right? Okay, so moving from poverty to prosperity is seen as possible, right? Through education and work. Do you guys think that's possible in South Korea? What are your guys' thoughts? What do you think, Ryan? Do you think it's possible, based on your understanding as a South Korean national, to go from being very poor to someone who's really rich? Why not?
Because South Korea, everything's based on your education.
Based on your education, and not just education. What kind of education? The status of your education, right? Good school versus not good school, right? And do you guys think that determines whether or not you're a good person or good at what you do? If you go to Harvard, or if you go to, I don't know, University of Arizona, right? Do you guys think there's a difference in terms of what the knowledge is? Do you think the quality matters? Why does school matter so much in the name? What do you guys think? All right, let me ask you one more time. If you go to Harvard, are you going to have a better life?
No.
Not necessarily, right? You can go to Harvard, skip all your classes, and just be a really terrible student. That doesn't mean you're going to learn more than someone who studies very diligently going to the University of Arizona, right? You guys understand? The amount of effort that you put in dictates how much you're going to get out of it, correct? The same thing with my class, the same thing, anything that you do. The more that you play video games, the better you get, correct? The more that you study about the characters in the video game to develop skills and techniques, those matter too, in the quality of your gameplay, right? Effort matters a lot. So, if effort matters a lot, why in South Korea can you not go from poverty to becoming rich? What is the thing that blocks? What do you guys think? What blocks you from moving up in society? We talked about it previously, about India and the UK. Do you guys remember what kind of system it is? It's called a caste system. A caste system is where people are ranked based on where they were born, their bloodline, or their family, right? if you're not born in that kind of echelon of society, you'll never go up. Right? Do you guys know the story of Aladdin? Have you guys seen Aladdin, Disney movie? Raise your hand if you've seen it. I need to see hands to know if I can use this as an example. Okay, so Aladdin is a rags to riches story, is it not? He is a poor peasant boy who steals in order to eat, and he marries who? The princess, right? Is that realistic?
No.
Why not? Why is it not realistic? They're both humans. He's a man, she's a woman.
Well,
Theoretically, it should work, right?
thief to prince.
Yeah. What's wrong with it?
It's like he uses the spot. He uses some kind of object that are not in real life, which cause him to lie and get what he wanted by law.
Yes. She finds out about it, yes.
Yeah,
And why does she marry him anyway?
I have no idea.
Why does Romeo and Juliet want to get married?
I have no idea.
So let me ask you, if this is unrealistic, then why? Why can't they get married? What stops them?
First,
They're not physically held back, are they?
Romeo and Juliet aren't they?
No. They end up killing themselves, but at the end of the day, there was nothing that stopped them from leaving. But what stopped them? What exactly stopped them? Society, right? The rules that society dictates. If you're poor, you can't marry into a rich family. Why? What is the idea? What is the mentality of someone who is rich marrying someone who's poor?
We're too poor for rich.
Sorry?
We're too poor for rich.
I don't think Romeo was, but Aladdin, let's use Aladdin for an example. Aladdin wasn't rich, but why did they get married? This is a romanticism perspective of this, but what I want to say is, in real life, that doesn't really happen, right? Why? Caste system, society says that this person is worth less than this person. But in reality, people are not ranked based on value of how much money they have. But society does this anyway, right? The same thing, did you go to a good school? Do you come from a good family? A lot of these things are weighed in context of what we do to value a person. So some people are valued really, really low. And it's terrible that people are ranked that way. You don't get to choose the circumstances of your birth, right? But you get to choose what you do, right? All right. Property and prosperity. So owning land or a home symbolizes stability and independence, right? If you have this, it means you're independent and you have a stable life, okay? Wealth accumulation, historically linked to security and social status, right? If you have a lot of money, you won't go poor or you won't go hungry and stuff like that. This is why it matters a lot to these particular people. That's why everybody's striving for financial freedom, right? But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay. Freedom and individualism, right? So Americans are widely renowned for being individualists, right? We don't think collectively, we think as an individual, right? In South Korea, you guys don't think like this, do you? How do you guys think? Raise your hand if you're completely lost on what I am talking about. Because I get a lot of blank stares right now. Do you guys understand? I'm gonna ask you guys some questions to find out, okay? Selena, what am I talking about? Are you okay? Daisy, what am I talking about?
Your question,
What am I talking about? What is everything we're talking about?
like before that,
Just everything. What do you understand from the lecture?
so when we're saying like how Americans and Koreans view of the society is different, Americans are more open to like businesses and like innovation, but Korean lifestyle strives for a more safe and system.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of.
Okay. Ashley, what am I talking about?
What you talking about just American dream and how it is like some sometimes unrealistic and sometimes realistic.
So what is the American dream based on what I talked about so far?
American dream is like you can do whatever you want if you put your effort.
Okay. Nothing stops us society-wise, right? Society can't stop us if we put in enough effort. But in Korea, the concept is society will stop you, right? It doesn't matter how much effort you put in. You'll be measured and weighed based on where you come from, how much your family has, how much you own, right? It's different, right? All right. So the right to choose one's own path without excessive government or societal constraints. This is really important for you guys to understand about American mentality, okay? We believe, essentially, we can do whatever we want. We get to choose what we want to do. If we want to lay around on a beach all our entire life, we can do that. Society doesn't get to control that part of us, right? In Korea, if you do that, what's the concept? What do you guys think about that person? Ooh, a bum, lazy, not very smart, something like that, right? I'm not saying that's not how Americans think as well, but there's the society perspective, not the individual perspective. Society dictates it like that, right? In the United States, it's about merit. If you have enough merit, it doesn't matter what you do, okay? Because if you made a lot of money owning a company, you can lay on the beach all you want. You can be lazy as much as you want, but society doesn't say that you're a bad person, right? Okay, this ties into American ideals and personal liberty and independence, okay? So, if you were to sum up the entire American dream, it's essentially, we don't want things to control us, we want to be in control of ourselves, we want to achieve things through our own effort, not through being given it, right? We don't want to be under someone else. Okay, so, which of these things feels more realistic today, okay? In today's society, in today's American society, does this still exist? Which one feels more realistic? Is it a meritocracy nowadays? Does it feel like you can achieve everything through effort? How many of you guys think that you can start a business today and make money? Great, one person. How many of you think that you could be a good employee today? Are you guys all gonna sleep on the beach or something? Like, what's going on here? You guys are either starting a business or you're working for someone. Which is it?
I have no money to start a business.
So you're gonna be a good employee? You're gonna smile and then take that, yes, I understand, as they're yelling at you at the customer counter,
I
right?
need money to go.
Do you?
Yeah,
Why do you need money?
we need to buy supplies and we need to buy a lot of employees or we work by ourselves when we need it. Also need resources so we can pay ourselves.
Do you need it or do you need to get it?
I need to get it and I need it.
Okay. So here's a fundamental difference, I think. This is my own individual perspective, not from the American dream, but a lot of people get hung up on the idea that they need a resource in order to get started with something. Yes, you do need resources, but you don't always need it immediately. So how do you get resources? You ask for it, right? This is what an investor is. Do you guys understand? So an investor is someone who believes in your dream for whatever you want to do. Typically, these are called angel investors, and usually it comes from friends or family. So you might ask your family, hey, can I borrow, 10 million won so I can start a company? And then they give it, and then you give them a percentage of the company, and then you start the company, right? If you can't ask for that much from one person, you can ask it from 10 people and ask for smaller amounts, right? You guys ever heard of crowdfunding?
Sorry?
Crowdfunding. This is where you put an idea on the internet, and people can donate to this idea, and then when your product is made, you ship them the product, right? People have raised millions of dollars doing this for particular ideas, especially game development. Did you guys know that? So yeah, you guys can do it. Or GoFundMe, you can put a thing on and then have people fund your idea. So there's many ways to get money in order to start a business idea, but the best way is to just do it. Start it, right? The money will come as long as you believe in it. American idea. Okay, so do you guys think that the American dream is still alive today?
Yeah.
Or do you guys think it died many, many years ago? To preface this, do you guys think that you'll ever buy your own house? Raise your hand if you think you can buy a house in the next 10 years.
10?
10 years. You think you can buy a house in the next 10 years? What do you want to do for work? What kind of work? Just so you know, this is statistically speaking the average amount of money that the average South Korean national makes, even working in an office at a company. You guys understand that, yeah? Do you think this can afford a house? Yes, no, maybe. Realism is really bad. It makes you feel depressed about the future, right? Yes? That is realism. It's staring you right in the face and it's saying, no, you won't. You will work for the rest of your life and you will rent. Right? So how do you get a house in South Korea? Does anyone know? How much money do you need to make? Do you need to make 120 million?
But don't most people like get loans to buy a house?
Yes, and you will be paying for that loan for your entire life working. Does that make sense? You don't get to retire at, 50. You're gonna work forever pretty much, right? At that salary. How much would you need to make in order to survive and actually get the things that you want in life for the vast majority of people? A lot of money. You guys have taken economics. Who is currently in economics right now? 2 people, 3 people.
Economics. You guys are in economics.
You guys in economics? No? Okay, cool. So economics uses something called supply and demand, right? There's a lot of people, but not enough houses. The price goes up. The more people that want it, the higher the price, right? But only a small percentage of the market can take it, which means houses are very expensive, which means you'll never afford it. It'll never become low enough where you can afford it. So the only way to afford it is to make more money, become the part of the population that can buy it. Does that make sense? You guys understand this concept? And the only way to do that, start a business. If your parents own a company, you guys don't have to tell me, but if they do, then you probably make something like this, which means you're part of that percentage, your family is part of that percentage that owns a house. Correct? But the vast majority of people are here. Does that make sense? Cool, so do you think enough hard work and dedication can bridge the gap of owning a home or not? If I work hard enough, if I go to school and I'm gonna get that job that everybody else has already gotten, will I ever make enough? Does my effort matter? What do you guys think? Is it dead? What do you think, Selena? Is the American dream dead? No? You think it's still alive? Do you guys think that South Korea's dream? What is South Korea's dream?
If you go to good school, you will have a lot of money.
Is that true?
Nope.
Why not?
Because just being employee doesn't mean that you earn a lot of money.
Yeah. You know something else? You can go to Seoul National University and not get a job because someone else took that same job because there's not enough jobs in Korea because the economy is really bad. You guys just went to a school to get a really good education that doesn't matter. That happens to a lot of people in the world, right? Because you're competing for the school and then you're competing for the job after the school. And you don't always get it. Because supply and demand dictates a lot of people graduated, but the jobs are very low, which means that only a few people can get the job, which means the vast majority of people have to take something lesser. Right? You guys understand? The only way out of this rat race is to make your exit. Decide your own destiny. Right? That's why a lot of people get side hustles. You guys know what a side hustle is? Side hustle is a job that you do outside of your job. So like if you guys know Tangen? Okay. You guys ever bought something on Tongan?
Mhm.
Okay. Who sold you that? Was it a person? Could you guys sell on Tongan?
Yeah.
Now, if a air conditioner was on Tongan and you bought it for 100,000 won, you guys know what 100,000 is?
Mhm.
It's sheep man won. Is that right? Okay. And you buy it for that, but it's normally sold for 150. Could you then buy it and then resell it for 150? You just made money. Good? That's a side hustle. That's how people make more money aside from just their job.
Mhm.
But you could turn that into a business. You could buy a lot of it. You could buy 100 or 1,000 of them and then sell them. Right? If you bought 1,000 air conditioners and you sold them for 150, right? You made 50. So 50 to 1,000 is what? It's like what? 5 million or so? Okay. So, any questions on the American Dream? No? Alright, do you have any questions about any of the assignments for the class? Yes, this class.
Yeah. There was something called battery.
Yep.
Do we make a poster?
Does it say make a poster?
Something.
Let me pull it up and we'll take a look at it. Yeah, we are gonna make a poster, but it doesn't have to be a poster. It can be. So basically, you guys know what ethos, pathos, and logos are? If you don't, it has it here. Ethos is credibility, pathos is emotion, and logos is logic. These are the three persuasion metrics that we use. You either influence someone emotionally, you influence them with logic, or you use your credibility. Like, I am a doctor, you need to listen to me. You guys understand? Okay, so, you guys are going to make a poster on a particular text that you guys want to use where it makes an argument, right? You guys read the Federalist Papers. Those are arguments. What do they use? Do they use ethos, pathos, or logos?
Maybe on Canva or the should be physical.
You guys can make it on whatever you want, okay? It can be digital or on paper, okay? You guys understand?
Yeah.
Okay. See you guys next time. Okay. Yep.